like a page, or you like have a suitcase and like a sledgehammer, and like your hair is all. I mean,
Yeah, that's funny. Absolutely.
I cannot wait to meet. Anyway.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Gotta have some chicken soup for that later.
I'm dying, Jillian. But I had to get you today. I said I have to get Jay Segal. What is the name of your firm anyway?
It's me, Jessica Segal. Yeah, absolutely. I'm my own law firm now.
So are you gonna have like attorneys working for you, like coming in doing cases and stuff?
No, no, I actually work, I do work for other attorneys. So I'm my own law firm, and then I do work for other attorneys. But I'm not at the point where I'm going to hire anybody.
You're not.
I like, that's not my goal.
Gotcha. Okay. This is so cool. Class, welcome. I'm gonna let everybody chime in, Jessica. This is so nice. Land trusts. Oh my goodness. I got so many emails last week. People were complaining and bitching about the bad connection that we had.
Yes, that was pretty bad. So we're gonna redo it. Let's do a redo.
Yeah, we did redo it, and hopefully we can get everybody on the same page with this land trust. You being a full-time, not only entrepreneur, but you're an attorney slash entrepreneur.
Yes,
That is so
absolutely.
cool.
I like to merge my interest in real estate with my law degree and sprinkle on a little estate planning in there, and we got the full package.
Wow, Jessica, you are so cool, man. I'm excited to have that the universe brought us together. That's cool. All right. Class, Chris Monroe. What is going on, party people? Y'all know I still feel like crap, but I'm working for you. Lord, I'm working. Jessica, today, you are in New York State.
I am. Yep. Upstate New York, a little bit north of New York City. Beautiful Hudson Valley.
Nice. For our people that are in the cold parts of the region, it's February, it's 80 degrees here. Tell me about the weather up there.
Oh, I'm so jealous. Actually, today is freakishly warm. It's probably close to high 50s, bright and sunny, but it's going to maybe snow again in a day or two. So it's been crazy.
Wow, nice. Well, my family members that you are here, it is 80 degrees in Virginia, and it is just gorgeous. It is gorgeous. So today, Jessica, I wanted to recap what we went over last week. I know we've been talking, obviously we talked back and forth about a lot of stuff, but the land trust in New
Yeah.
York. Land
Okay.
trust in New
Yeah.
York.
Yes.
There were two
A
things
lot, a
happening.
lot of people ask about that.
We talked,
So,
go ahead.
we don't use the land trust the way you're using the land trust. And maybe you can explain a little bit about how you're using it. In New York, the trust is a great tool for estate planning that keeps your estate anonymous and private and not a public court document. Makes it harder for people to track down who owns the property, things of that nature. But it is not an asset protection tool in terms of liability. So if you're buying and holding property and you're worried about a lawsuit and somebody going after your assets, you need an LLC. You need some sort of asset protection business entity. A trust isn't going to do that for you. So in New York, we take both. We put the property in the LLC to protect your personal assets from lawsuits, and then we put that LLC inside your trust. And your trust is your anonymous estate plan.
Yep. Gotcha. Paris here. What up, Paris? So,
Yeah.
I think in your attorney brain, you are going to try to advise us the best way for asset protection, no doubt.
Yes. I'm always coming from, as a litigation attorney, how can I protect a property owner or an investor so that their personal assets are not at risk from their business decisions? Okay, so having seen firsthand somebody getting seriously injured on a property, and, you know, that $1 million lawsuit going after the personal assets, right? That's what's going to happen if you don't have, if you're not running your business properly, you don't have good insurance, things of that nature. So I always try and protect my clients first in terms of separating business liability from their personal assets. You don't want anybody to ever touch your home or your retirement account or anything like that. So that's always my goal. And then from that initial, like, most important goal of protecting your personal assets, then we build out the other estate planning tools, things like a power of attorney, a trust, all of those things.
Gotcha. So sticking in our line of conversation for our real estate investors today, I'm not an attorney, so I actually don't offer any type of asset protection, Jessica.
Right.
I don't have any knowledge on that.
But where you live,
go ahead.
Yeah, where you live, doesn't the land trust give you some liability protection?
Some, yes. It is just the first line of defense in the title. In the title for the property. So let's just say that we buy a house, we put it in the trust. The trust is Brown Trust or whatever we want to call it. So when inevitably, no doubt, someone tries to sue your boy because they think I own some stuff, they go do their title search and they don't see Chris Haskins or Chris Haskins LLC on title. That's it. Period. I'm not offering any type of protection after that. All we can do is, I guess my question for you is, all I want to do is for my viewers and for my family members and all my clients. Car store, thank you. Luxury car store, thank you. If you had a question, class, I forgot to preface this, Jessica. If you have a question you want to answer quickly, do a super chat and we'll get to that one first because Jessica only has a few moments to be with us. I'm strictly talking about estate planning and anonymity, Jessica. That's all.
Okay. All right. Well, and if that's your goal, that is a fantastic tool because the trust will do that. It basically will put, like, in the county clerk records, the owner of the property is XYZ Trust. It's not going to say who actually owns it. And then when you have to list the mailing address as the primary mailing address for the property, you know, you can have some PO box on there or something. Whatever. But But at the end of the day, if somebody wants to sue you and they hire an investigator to track down, at some point, somebody's paying those taxes on that property. Somebody is paying utilities on that property. An investigator will eventually find you for that lawsuit. Okay,
now we're moving on to my next point that I wanted to ask you about. I love it. I love when you said that word, hire. Mm-hmm. You got to, in order to hire someone, one would have to go in their pocket and spend some money, no doubt.
Yes.
So if someone wants to come after me, then I would prefer to make it a little harder for them to find me, being a real estate investor, perhaps.
Yes, absolutely. Yep, and that's what it does. It buys you time. You know, somebody's gonna want to have some skin in the game, right? So they're gonna have to, you're gonna have to owe them enough money that it's worth it to them to hire that investigator. Right? It's like hiring a process server for your eviction notice versus stalking your tenant yourself, right? You're going to, you know, if it's a purely business decision, you're going to hire someone to take care of it for you.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. So let's back up to New York.
Okay.
Everybody's going crazy over New York. I mean, I don't know why. I love the state, but I mean, y'all cool with it all. But what is the deal now? Can I still record a trust? Help me when you say that they'll recognize. What does that mean?
Well, what I'm saying is the trust owns the property, okay, during the lifetime of the trustee, right? So it's usually like I own, if, for example, it's a revocable trust is a living document. So if I put my property in the XYZ trust and I'm the trustee, the deed gets recorded as being owned by XY Trust. That's it. So if I don't use my personal name, then they're not going to necessarily know it's me. Okay, so and it's a great, the trust document itself, you can put all your different assets in this trust document. And what it
Okay.
does is that then your estate immediately passes to your beneficiary without having to go to probate court.
Yes.
And you know what a great investor tool is, right? You pay attention to the death notices at the probate court, right? That's where people go to find motivated sellers. Okay. So if you don't want your stuff, for lack of a better word, advertised that way, use a trust and not a will. And most people don't realize that. They think if they're doing a will, I've set my family up, I'm good. But it's basically a public advertisement for everything you own. So people can target you basically after you've passed, or your loved ones, to try and get at your assets basically, right? If my all my property is now listed as a asset list, investor decides they're going to start sending letters to my family trying to buy my house while they're in the middle of grieving, right? Or anything else. Or maybe it's listed that I have all this jewelry or cars or whatever. I'm targeting my home and my family. Now they know I'm dead. They know I'm not there, and they know what all my property is.
Wow. Powerful. Powerful. Whew. At the end of the day, luxury car store, I got you. I promise you, I'm going to get you first.
Yeah. And
Jessica,
so I love the trust because it's keeping everything you've worked so hard to get completely private.
off public
Okay. But at
record.
the end of the day, I want to just circle back from my clients, and this goes anywhere in the country. This is not limited to New York. A limited liability company is very cheap to start up. It's a very simple, quick process. I do it for my clients. Any of these online services do it. You deed the property into that LLC. So the name of the property is XYZ LLC. And now if there's a deck collapse, there's a fire, there's anything on that property where somebody can sue you, the recovery is limited to the value of that property or what's in the bank account. It's a fantastic protection tool. And
Yeah.
then you combine it with the trust to give you the privacy.
You combine it. Once again, I had to learn that asset protection is all about layers. I didn't know that. It's just layering things.
Yes,
But if you have the accident at the house, the LLC can just be the beneficiary of the trust. I mean, that's still just one layer there. I mean, there's so many ways that it can be done.
absolutely. Yep.
Let me get to luxury car
So
store, then I'm gonna get back to that. I think it's he. He wants to know he's got a super chat. Is our trust treated the same in Pennsylvania as in New York, Jessica? Do you know that?
I don't know the answer to that question because every state has its own laws. I will say, however, they're probably very similar because for the most part, um, all states have very similar laws. But you're going to want to talk to an estate planning attorney specifically in Pennsylvania, where you live, and I highly recommend finding an estate planner that does real estate investing. Like actually shop around and ask, and don't just hire the first attorney. And that's kind of like how I get my clients too. Yes, I'm a lawyer, but I'm a real estate investor. So a lot of my clients tend to be real estate investors because I see things from both angles, or just small businesses, who are looking to combine their LLC and their estate plan.
He wants to know, you said something about you put the LLC in New York, you put the trust, the LLC in the trust. Is that why you're doing it over there?
Yes. Right. So think of your trust. We kind of said this, it was a bad connection. Think of your trust as like the cardboard box.
Yep.
So all the assets go into the box.
Yep.
Okay. So basically the shares of the LLC are transferred to the trust. Okay. So it's
Now,
an automatic passing. So upon your death, your beneficiary can step in and take over your real estate business.
gotcha. Now is that with a land trust or you're referring to the revocable living trust?
So I'm licensed in New York. I use my New York terms. We call it a revocable living trust.
Revocable living trust.
We don't call them land trusts in New York. You can do it. I mean, it's really the same thing. If somebody
Same thing.
called me up and said, I want to do a land trust, I would talk to them, and basically we'd circle back to the basic revocable trust.
Gotcha.
My understanding is in your state and some other states, the land trust is specific for real estate investments.
Just the whole time. All I care about is holding title, Jessica. All that other asset protection, in my opinion, in my research, is additional to that.
Yeah, right. I mean, if you're gonna, I'll say this, absolutely, it's very easy. We can set up a land trust. You put the title to the property in this land trust. But from a practical standpoint, I personally would do an LLC
Do LLC
before,
first.
right? Because for me as an attorney, liability is so much more important than the anonymous part. Because like I said, if someone wants to sue you and really wants to find you, they will figure out who the owner of that land trust is.
Oh yeah.
So it's to me, it's all about the bigger picture for me is liability protection.
And this is why you're here. This is exactly why I wanted you. I wanted to have you here. But Jessica, look, we got 20 properties. We got 20 LLCs. Talk to me. What are we doing with that?
Yes. Okay. So if you don't live in New York State, there's a handful of states that have what's called a series LLC. It's a fantastic tool. Look it up and see if your state has them. I think there's 7 or 8 states that have them. And basically what it is there's one parent LLC, and then every property comes off it from there as a separate LLC entity. It's a great tool. We don't have it in New York. So for my clients, I do tell them it depends on your risk assessment. I tell them to put each property in its own LLC, depending on the value of the property. Maybe you have some small condos and maybe it's worth it to put a few into one LLC. But if let's say you have like multifamily properties or you have single family homes and they're worth a lot of money, I tell people to separate it out because that way the damage or the liability recovery can only be limited to that one property and not all 20 properties. So if somebody sues you for $1 million and that property is only worth 50,000, then that's all they're getting plus whatever insurance. But if let's say you have all your assets in this one LLC, they can basically get all 5 of your homes to satisfy that $1 million judgment. So it's a risk assessment. So, part of talking to me really is let's look at your whole picture. How many properties do you have? What's your comfort level on risk? I'll give you an example. For me to do an LLC for somebody is about $1,000. It's about $500 in fees and costs and about $500 of my time. You can also do it yourself online for about $400 or $500. Yeah. So if you factor in that as a business decision, it's so simple. And now you're protecting each of your hard-earned assets individually.
Gotcha.
Wow. And I also like it that way because each LLC, each property, you have your own bank account, you have your own credit card. It makes for taxes so easy. You know exactly how much you're spending at each property. It's all tax deductible. All these LLC costs and different things. But I know some people just don't want to do it that way, and I just at least recommend a boatload of insurance.
Yeah, thank you for that. I just got my umbrella policy thanks to you.
Yeah. So if you live in a state with the Series LLC, fantastic tool. If you don't, I recommend at the very least one LLC. If you have multiple properties, consider putting them in separate LLCs. Yeah. Wow. And then there's some people I know that because they have like 10 properties, they create like a property management company, and then they'll put their management company in an LLC and keep those assets completely separate. I mean, you can really do it really depends on how profitable each individual business is.
Yeah, gotcha. That's cool. Okay, so we can have a trust in New York. I just want to hear you say it so I can stop. I can just tell my clients to just go to this video.
Yes, you can have a land trust in New York. I don't think it's something I would recommend, but you can do it. Yes.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
So what
If
are we
we're
doing?
in, yeah. If we're doing a trust, we're going to look at your entire estate, not just that one thing.
So that client that we were talking about earlier, how are we going to handle them? Because I have to figure out, I have to get on your side. I don't want to try to. Are
Yeah,
we
yeah.
gonna?
No, you talking about the subject too?
Well, not necessarily the subject to in that instance, but I have been taught to the death to make sure you always buy a house in a trust. Period. It's kind of way I've been taught. And you're saying LLC, so we have to. You and I have. Well, I guess I have to get on
Well,
your page.
well, can you explain why you were told to purchase it in a trust? Like, what is the explanation?
Jessica, you there? Jessica, you there? Golly. Sorry, class. I don't know what happened to my dog. See if I can get her back. This is some juicy stuff. I love it. I love it. Williams, you back. What up, Odetta? Yeah, you guys are. My boy Paris. I just met this dude, Baltimore. Luxury, I hope I got you straight, dog. Chris, what's good, my brother? Chris, I'm gonna get you on the interview next Monday. That's okay. See if I can get Jessica back. Melinda, hey. Danny, April Flowers Fashions. What type of flowers fashions you do? Jessica, please.
Couldn't seem to, you just froze. So I don't know how much, I don't know where you lost me.
Oh, only thing I heard was last thing I heard you could was
Well,
why
I
do I
guess,
want to use the trust?
yeah. Why were you taught that's the only way to buy property?
Not only I mean I just
No, I mean the recommended way.
here's my trust, right?
Yeah.
It owns the house, right?
Okay.
The LLC is the beneficiary.
Okay.
I can do all type of asset protection with this trust. Once the house is in the trust, I can set it up with a whatever series LLC. I can layer this as many times as I want it and pass it on to my kids. I can make it to where the successor beneficiary is my daughter,
Yeah.
whatever.
Okay.
That's all. And the trust owns the house. The asset protection comes in here with the LLC, who is the beneficiary of the trust. But up there, I think y'all kind of do it backwards.
Yeah, because let me ask you this. Your beneficiary, the LLC, does not become the owner until you pass, right? So the LLC protection is not in effect until you have a beneficiary, right? Unless you're saying, yeah, see, that's where you're losing me. A beneficiary meaning upon your death.
Well, with the land trust, the beneficiary is just the person that's going to benefit from when I sell. Okay, say for instance, when I do my flips, right?
Yeah.
I buy it in a trust, sell it. So the title company cuts the check out to the beneficiary because I'm just the owner of the trust. That's all. The trustee signs everything, and then they write the check out to me or my LLC at closing.
So you have an LLC?
Yeah, a couple of them, several of them.
So this is, you know what? This is where you're totally losing me. Maybe it's just because we're in different states.
I think so. I think you're here first. I think you're LLC first.
Yes.
We'll get it. We'll get it.
Okay.
We'll work on that.
I definitely want to. I listen. I'm all about creative solutions.
Yeah.
And I need to look into this land trust concept more in your state, and maybe that'll help me understand it better.
Yeah. Well, I just think I have to get on your page too. And with Jessica, it's a work in progress.
Yes.
And once we get it down, we're going to be a beast.
Yeah. So I'll say this, regardless of what state you live in, because your viewers are watching everywhere.
Yeah.
You want to look at either a land trust or an LLC and a revocable trust, depending on what state you're in. Come up with the plan that's best for you.
Yep, there you go. I had a client do one in New Jersey. Oh no, Pennsylvania. And he told me that the attorney made him change the title from a land trust to a grantor's trust. They wouldn't record the land trust.
Yes.
So
So that's what, and that's what the revocable trust is, a grantor trust. So that's, but now the training that you went to, you said that you could, they told you at that training, you could do a land trust in every state.
well, he did say that the attorney might make a change the name of it. I mean, that was all.
Right. Right. And so I think that's where, because I deed property to trusts. I mean, that's part of what I do in the estate plan. The trust is created, you redeed the title of the property to the trust. And then you record it with the county clerk.
Record it. Yep. That's all I really care about is getting my name off the damn title, period. I just want people to don't put houses in your name. That's all I'm trying to,
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And the same thing, if you're purchasing it in the name of an LLC, it's not in your personal name.
It's not a personal name, yeah.
Right.
All right. So your asset protection, I like estate planning because it's a little more user friendly. That's all.
Yes.
So when you go talk to somebody and you say asset protection, it's almost like you're sneaky. You're trying to, I'm just saying Jay, you still there?
Sorry. Hold on 1 second. I'm trying to exit out.
There we go. All right,
Okay.
I'm back. I lost you, and I was trying to get off my phone and do it this way.
Oh, okay.
Okay, what was your question?
No, I was just saying estate planning is before you get in trouble. How do they say it? This is before you get in trouble. This asset protection is you're trying to hide stuff. With estate planning is you can do it before trouble comes.
Yes. Well, I mean, I view the asset protection as before trouble comes.
Yeah. Oh wait, attorney. Yeah, you're attorney. So. You can say it, Jessica. I can't. If I'm asset protection, I'm trying to hide stuff.
Yeah, but in a good way, right? I use the word protection, you use the word hide, but we're saying the same thing.
Protect. I'm just, I'm just saying.
That's the lawyer in me. I'm trying to protect my clients so that they get to keep all the stuff that they worked hard for.
Gotcha. All right.
The same thing. You're trying to hide your stuff from creditors.
Creditors, yeah. Okay, Jessica, it's 3:35. I don't think we have too many more questions.
Any other questions?
Let's see what we got. We answered Melinda. Q&A is my favorite part, but I can't get people to. I'm like, you got an attorney on here. Paris, what up? Okay, Danny wants to know, can you set up a trust and have the LLC be the owner of the trust?
Can the LL say that one more, that last part? Who is the owner?
Danny wants to know, can you set up the trust? That's kind of what we do. And then have the LLC the owner. I guess benefit, I'm going to say got to be beneficiary because no one owns it.
Right. So, yes. Basically, the LLC can be held by the trust, and on your passing, immediately go to your beneficiary.
You can.
So, like, your children can step into your business shoes and keep running your business.
There you go. Luxury car
Yes.
store. Oh yeah. Okay. Q&A class. Q&A. I got a whole lot of comments here, but no Q's. That's right, family first. People trying to keep this information from not getting out. Abdullah says, "Thank you, Jessica." She's from Pennsylvania. He's from Pennsylvania. Faye Thompson. Hey, if you use an LLC, someone wants to find you, can they go to the state and find the owner or managing member of the LLC?
Okay, so yeah, you have to keep an agent on file for service of process. And so what you do is you hire an independent company to be your agent. And most companies will charge a small fee. It's like $150 a year, so that their name and address is listed on the state registry, not yours.
Wow.
And that way you have legally someone to accept service, but your name is not advertised. So again, that gives you that anonymous profile.
Wow.
And the nice thing about an LLC is you're not required to file your operating agreement with the state. So it also shields, sort of limits the identity of who's members of that business.
They can't see that. You just keep that in the file, right?
Right. Right.
Good
So
question,
I always encourage people to either use an agent or use, never put your personal home address on the state registry. Let's put it like that.
Sky Investments wants to know, I got to rephrase this question here. How would you be able to protect your properties from your spouse before divorce? Oh, Lord. Sky, you're in trouble.
That's the kind of question that you, in all seriousness, like I mean, you need to talk to an attorney in your state, because every state has different laws about how marital property is divided. But you can enter into any agreement in terms of how that is resolved. But it's pointless for me to give an answer to that in New York if he doesn't live in New York.
Yeah, gotcha. Sky, I don't think we need to be, you need some prayer, brother. I don't know if any.
Yeah.
Derek, I have Derek Carter, 2 properties under contract. When do I set up the trust? Do I do it the same day as closing? Oh, Lord. Well, Jessica, you want to go first? You want me to go first on that one?
The question.
I'm sorry. Derek Carter has 2 properties under contract to buy. Wants to know, when does he set up the trust?
When does he set up the trust?
He wants to know, can he set it up the same day? You got to set this stuff up. The attorney has to prepare the deed, Derek. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. If he's doing what you're doing with the land trust, you have to answer that question. Typically in New York, where, if you have a trust already in existence, then at the closing table, you're purchasing the property in the name of the trust, or you transfer it afterwards. I really don't know how to answer the question about land trusts because I don't do them.
That's right. You're not doing them until today.
How do you do it?
Derek, I pray that you don't try. Huh?
Are you doing the land trust the same day as the closing?
No way. The attorney has to prepare the deed.
Okay.
They can't prepare. When they type the deed up, they got to know, first of all, what's the name of the trust, right?
Okay.
You got the attorney sitting there at his typewriter or whatever computer, and he's not going to take your word for it. You're going to have to send him the trust agreement that we use. They're not going to ask you, hey, man, what's the name of this trust? Who's the trustee? Who's the beneficiary on this trust? They're going to want to know the trustee. They have to know the trustee, Derek. So I advise you at least give it a week, because your attorney, like Jessica, no doubt is doing other stuff. And before closing, you don't want to give her that document so she has to work on your file that day, And once you get the trust agreement, Derek, you can use it, in perpetuity. Just change the name of the trust that you're using and for each addresses. Don't wait till the same day, brother. Chris Monroe, he's in Missouri. What happens if you never do the second part and name the beneficiary? Oh, man. Jessica?
Okay, well, in what sense? You talking about in a trust, in a will?
I would say in a trust. In the beneficiary. Wow.
Well,
you don't name a beneficiary.
No attorney is going to set up a trust without naming a beneficiary. That's the purpose of the trust. You're setting it up that way. So if you're setting up a trust, when you create it, you're naming who your beneficiary is.
Yeah.
If you if you didn't, you need to redraft that document and change it. And the nice thing is trust or a will at any time. Yeah.
You got to do that, Chris. Please make sure you're doing that. Yeah. TB Williams, can you do that even if you are a single member LLC? What do you mean by that? Are you referring to holding title? Williams, are you talking about holding title?
Sorry, breaking up. I heard single member LLC. What's the question?
She wants to know, can you still take title in an LLC? Oh, I think she was saying about that you were talking about hiring a company to be your managing member, so the mailing address goes there?
No, so I was talking about hiring an agent for
An
service
agent.
or process. Okay, so it's just the Secretary of State requires you to have somebody listed who can be served with papers for you.
Yes.
So that's the person I was talking about. And yes, a single member LLC can own the
Hire an
title,
agent.
right?
No,
But,
well, she wants
but
to know
then go
about
and hire
hire.
an agent.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hire the agent.
And, yes, and you know, part of having a regular attorney is, you know, the convenience is now we can talk about these things and make sure that as your properties change, as your holdings change, you have the regular go-to community attorney. They know you, they know your business. They're much more willing to drop everything for you and prepare your documents.
Yeah. That is so sharp. I'm gonna have to use that one, Jessica. I didn't know you could take your name as an agent off. You see, that was worth the admission today.
Yep.
That is so sharp. Only from an estate, I mean, an asset protection attorney. Only from you.
All kinds of tips we got together. All right, last question, then I got to hit the road.
Okay, I'm sorry. I know you rolling. 90-day deed restriction. Eleanor says New York has a 90-day deed restriction. Is that true?
I can't hear the question. Sorry, you keep breaking up. In New York?
Eleanor, she's in New York. She says you guys have a 90-day deed restriction in the whole state. Is that true?
I don't know what she means by deed restriction.
Oh, can't sell it after you buy it for 90 days.
No, that's not true.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe if the property does have that, if that particular sale of deed restriction, then so be it. But that's not a general rule in New York.
Gotcha. Okay, so she's all right. So, wow.
And then if anybody else has questions, you know, you can we can give out my email address.
I'll type it in now. Just go ahead.
And touch. So the JME Properties LLC at Gmail.
LLC.
JME Properties LLC at gmail.com.
Jessica, thank you for your time. I got a million questions we can go over next time. But
yeah, and then if there's some really good questions that we want to go back to next Friday, we can try and answer them.
Jessica Segal I'm just blessed that you are on my team. I'm on your team. You are one of the editors for the newsletter that's getting better.
You know what? I got to tell you, I want to go do some research on land trusts, and that's going to be my next article for you.
Nice.
I want to do the land trust versus the revocable trust, and we'll see what we can find.
Sounds good. All right, Jessica, have a good night.
Great weekend. Take care, everybody. Bye.
All right. Bye. Let me get you out of class. That was so cool. Class, I'm here for you. Your boy is working. I'm only at 74.68% in health, but your boy is working for you. Your boy is working. That's all I do is serve. All I do is serve. Please like the content. I got a few more minutes to hang out with you. Brandon, so can land trust be used as the member of LLC for asset protection privacy was named? Yes. Trust owns the house, my brother, Brandon. LLC beneficiary. You got to know this stuff. You can use my trust documents or go out there and buy your own. You got to get these houses. And Jessica and I are going to hopefully have docs that are stamped by the Segal law firm that are going to make you feel better about doing this stuff. Even if you have Angela Ford, even if you have your name on registry, I don't know about that one. Yeah, Jessica, that was a new one. I don't know about that changing your agent down at the courthouse. Danny, good gracious. Danny, would you getting the cash from rental properties be difficult? No. People just remember the trust is nothing but a way to take title. Your rental properties, they ain't even gonna know who's on title. When you show up, you're the property manager. Make your checks out to Joe Smith or Danny Ramos. That's all they need to know. Only time you run into a problem with your trust being on title is when you do a lease option, owner financing, when you initially meet your tenant buyer. Excuse me. They're dealing with Danny Ramos But then they're going to say, if they do a title search, they're going to say, well, the Green Trust owns this house. What do you have to do with the Green Trust? Then you can explain to them. You can show you're a trust member or you work for the trust or what have you. But that's the only time the trust is even going to come up with rental properties. All my properties in trust, I got Section 8 rentals. They don't ask for the title. My tenant buyers, they bring the checks right to the bank. How should I set up my LLC without putting my name? Brandon, that's going to be a Jessica Segal question, my brother, without putting your name on title. I can't help you with that. I'm new to that. Brandon, how do you use land trust for an LLC, like an auto sales company? Don't know too much about that, brother. Clay, Chris, are you placing everything in a trust? Yes. Or only what you take title to? Everything, Clay. My brother, everything. Even if you are wholesaling a house, you make the contract. I wish I could just come through this computer screen. Yes, everything's in the trust. Because what's, Clay, if you're, say you're wholesaling, right? Say you're wholesaling. You don't intend to buy it, right? I got a client going through it right now. You can't find a buyer. You can't find a buyer, right? Your seller wants to come after you and sue you. Let them sue the trust. You don't want them suing your LLC, dog. So just remember that. Always, without exception, use a trust. Use the trust. And it's only a few dollars. You know, you can use mine or use whoever. It's not, and it's, if you don't understand how they work, just go back through my videos and just type in land trust. Yes, everything goes into trust. Every property I own, even where I live, where I lay my head, class, is in a trust. Okay? Thanks for the info. Danny, yeah. Oh, John, yeah, thanks. You're welcome, my brother. You're welcome. Sarah, I've always used LLCs. That's cool. You can use that too. Thanks for explaining the land trust with Jessica. Sarah, thank you for acknowledging the fact that your boy is working. Why should she address me as she? Oh, I'm a grown. I'm sorry, Eleanor. My bad. My bad. Eleanor, my bad. My bad, dog. I didn't know you was a grown man. I saw the L. Okay, class. This has been a very informative session, and I prayerfully will be bringing you attorney time every Friday, 3 o'clock. It's going to be my goal. Will be my goal. Not sure if we're going to hit it, but every week we're going to get Jessica on the line so she can answer legal questions for you. And eventually she'll have her own stuff that you can sign up with her and get your closings done and get your land trust created and all that crap. All right. What else? Oh, my last thing. Please like the content, subscribe to my channel, and comment below. The commenting is the fuel to my flames, the wind to my fire, class. Please comment. I'll see you next time. Peace.